Look at this German noun. Autobahnanschlussstelle. It is long enough to look like a dare. But if you are learning German, the useful question is not, how many letters can this language glue together? It is, what is the word doing inside? Autobahnanschlussstelle names a motorway junction. The University of Tübingen uses it as a real example of recursive compound splitting. First Autobahn plus Anschlussstelle, then Auto plus Bahn, and Anschluss plus Stelle. That already sounds less like a monster and more like a small map. Today we will follow that map. We will find the word's head, recover the hidden relation between its parts, see why a linking S can be meaningless, and then test the method on a word you have not memorized. The phrase tiny sentence is my metaphor, not a claim that a noun secretly contains a full clause. The point is that German often writes a relation-rich description as one compact noun. The basic operation is compounding. Take word stems and combine them into a new word. The Leibniz Institute for the German Language describes noun compounds as a right-hand noun plus at least one unit on its left. The Oxford Research Encyclopedia calls compounding frequent and productive across the Germanic languages because a simple grammatical form can connect to a much richer semantic structure. So Wasser plus Flash becomes Wasserflash, and a new noun can be written as one word instead of a phrase with spaces. This is not random word smashing. The pieces enter a structure, and the structure has an anchor. In a two-part compound, that anchor is usually the right-hand part. When more pieces are added, the new compound can itself become the modifier of another compound. That is how a word grows without losing its basic shape. Add detail on the left, keep the thing being named on the right. Here is the first decoding move. Look at the rightmost meaningful unit. In a normal determinative compound, the right unit is the morphosyntactic head. In plain language, it tells you what sort of thing the whole word is. Apfeltort is a kind of tort, not a kind of apple. Autobahnanschlussstelle ends in stelle, a place or point. That is why the ordinary learner form is die Autobahnanschlussstelle. The compound follows the feminine gender of stelle. The left pieces narrow the type of place. They do not change its basic category. This is also why the rule is useful when you meet a new noun in a sentence. First find the head, then let the head suggest the article and the inflection. This is a normal pattern, not a magic promise for every lexicalized exception, but it is a far better first move than guessing from the first noun. The word may be visually huge. Grammatically, its right edge is doing the organizing. Now for the part that makes these words feel like tiny sentences. The left piece does not always mean the same English preposition. The IDS examples make that visible. Wasserflash is a bottle whose content is water. Water in a container. Holzboden is a floor made of wood, material and object. Briefkasten is a box intended for letters. The head still names the object, Flash, Boden, Kasten, but the modifier tells you what kind of object it is, and the relation has to be inferred. Sometimes the paraphrase sounds like made of. Sometimes it sounds like for. Sometimes it is closer to contains. That is why translating every compound with one mechanical of rule fails. A compound is compact because German leaves the relation economical. Your job as a reader is to propose the shortest plausible paraphrase, then check it against the object and the surrounding sentence. Return to Autobahnanschlussstelle. If you read it as a flat list, car, road, connection, place, you have 4 labels, but no structure. Germanet's split shows the better route. Start with the immediate pair Autobahn plus Anschlussstelle. Then split the left unit into Auto plus Bahn and the right unit into Anschluss plus Stelle. In other words, the word is nested. Auto plus Bahn, together with Anschluss plus Stelle, inside the full compound. The rightmost Stelle stays the head of the whole compound. Anschluss narrows the kind of place, and Autobahn narrows what it connects to. The exact English paraphrase is not a universal formula. Context and lexical knowledge finish the job. But the order of operations is stable. Find the head, split the nearest pair, then split any complex modifier. That recursive view is the hidden reason a German compound can feel sentence-like. It is not one long flat noun. It is a small hierarchy of descriptions. German sometimes inserts a sound between 2 meaningful units. In Freundschaftsbeweis, The boundary includes s. In Hochzeitsdort, the word also has a visible linking s. The IDS calls these sounds fusion element or linking elements. The important learner warning is that a linking element is not automatically a third noun, and it does not carry a fixed meaning. In particular, the non-paradigmatic German linking s is semantically empty. It fills the seam between parts. It is not a reliable translation of of, and it is not proof that the first noun is genitive in the modern compound. Some linkers resemble older inflectional endings, and usage can vary, but the practical reading move is simple. Color the seam separately, then return to the meaning-bearing blocks. Freundschaft and Bueys do the semantic work. The s helps the compound hold together as a word. There is another trap in the Lego metaphor. The pieces are reusable, but they are not always one-sense labels. The University of Tübingen gives a clean pair, Eiswürfel and Eisbecher. In Eiswürfel, EIS is the frozen water sense. In Eisbecher, it is the ice cream sense. The written modifier is the same, but the compound's context selects a different lexical meaning. So the decoding routine cannot stop after you split the spelling. Ask what the head is, ask which sense of each modifier fits, and then ask whether the whole compound is a literal subtype or an established expression. This is also why a learner can understand the architecture of a new word and still need a dictionary for the last step. Structure gives you a hypothesis. Context tests it. German compounding is productive, but we should measure that claim carefully. The University of Tübingen's Germanet page reports 130,901 split nominal compounds in version 20.0, a 2025 inventory snapshot. That is a real catalog count, not a claim that German has only 130,901 possible compounds, or that every new coinage becomes a dictionary entry. The number matters because it shows the scale of the pattern. This is not a handful of famous legal jokes. At the same time, the catalog includes ambiguity, foreign pieces, opaque morphemes, and word groups, and it records how difficult automatic splitting can be when linking elements or deleted word final letters intervene. The honest conclusion is narrower and more useful. German gives speakers a productive construction for naming a new subtype, but readers still use lexical memory, context, and world knowledge to interpret the result. Here is the routine you can use tomorrow. First, find the right most meaningful head. What kind of thing is this? Second, split the word recursively, starting with the nearest pair rather than slicing every letter greedily. Third, propose the hidden relation, content, material, purpose, location, or something else. Fourth, test the proposal against the sentence and the real-world object. Take the IDS example, Flaschenopener. The head is Offner, an opener. The modifier is Flaschen, and the relation is purpose, an opener used to open bottles. The word is still one noun, but the paraphrase becomes a tiny action description. When you see a longer word, do not translate left to right, as if it were a sentence. Build the tree first. Then let the right edge tell you the category, and let context choose the relation. If the word is idiomatic or opaque, mark your interpretation as a hypothesis and check a reliable dictionary instead of pretending the pieces guarantee the answer. So, why do German words become tiny sentences? They do not become sentences in the grammatical sense. They become compact nouns that carry several nested relations. A thing narrowed by another thing, narrowed again by another. The rightmost head keeps the word grammatically stable. The left modifiers add precision. The seams may add sound without adding meaning, and context turns the structure into a useful interpretation. That is the whole method. Head, split, relation, context. It lets you approach an unfamiliar compound with a testable plan rather than a joke about long words. And it tells you where to be careful. The right-hand head pattern is a normal default, not a universal law. The tiny sentence is a metaphor, and some compounds are lexicalized or ambiguous. Once you can see the hierarchy, German's long nouns stop looking like walls. They start looking like maps.